Yo, what is going on, ladies and gents? It's yours truly, Mr. Funkadelic Jones, back in the building. And welcome to the Get to Wealthy podcast. Yes, I'm always living ghetto wealthy. Just because I might have grew up on a spam sandwich or two, might have had to sleep on a mattress, doesn't matter. Just because you grow up in the hood don't mean you can't live wealthy, man. But before I get started on what I'm about to do, make sure you guys follow me on all my social media platforms at Funkadelic Jones. That's Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Thread by Instagram and all that. It looks like bootleg Twitter, all that, man. TikTok, I'm everywhere. You know what I mean? Subscribe to YouTube channel, everything, man. You already know what time it is. Now, for those that know me, always knew when it came to doing this podcast thing, I was always working on 2 podcasts. Well, I can tell you guys like this, I only have 1 podcast now. Just 1. So for those that don't know, and it probably, you probably didn't see me post it or it didn't really get talked about, but the Basement Friday podcast is officially over. But before I dive deep into that, you know what I mean, I just want to come on my channel. I've had a lot of good fun, had a lot of good memories, all those good things though, you dig what I'm saying? But like I always tell people in life, that all good things eventually do come to an end. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta close the book, sometimes you gotta close the chapters on a lot of events, but you gotta keep things rolling though, you feel what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Y'all know me, y'all know old Funkadelic, man. Hey, I gotta keep the train rolling as much as possible, man. So even though that show is no longer up and running and is no longer, you know what I mean, it pretty much came to an end. Y'all already know the Ghetto Wealthy is still up and about, and you guys get to see my pretty face, and y'all get to see me as I get to annoy y'all on a day-to-day basis. Now, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, though. But let's get down to business, man. So, for those that do know, I was doing a lot of marketing for the Basement Friday. I know you guys can watch our last episode, but for those that follow just me, I'll just give you guys a little backstory. But the Basement Friday started in 2019, right? My man's on the show that was with me, he reached out to me and just was like he wanted to start a podcast. And like the same thing I said over there, I'm gonna say on here. In my mind, I was thinking like a podcast. Like, you really starting a podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, you really starting a podcast though? Damn. I was like, what the hell, a podcast? You know what I mean? Because I was a little thrown off because I was like, we starting a podcast? Like an actual podcast? But at the same time, I had to sit back and look at it. Was like, you know, when he came up with the name of the podcast, and because I've done, business with him back in the day, I said, you know what? Let's do it. You know, man, everybody loves when I talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm always entertaining people. That's my job. But, so to record, 200 episodes, I mean, just like every week, day in and day out, changing my schedule for a lot of different things, but it's crazy though. But it was a beautiful thing though. So, and I just remember all the times though, like being at the job, being at the dispensary, like I'm talking about literally, I was literally promoting that junk, like I was promoting like it was like we was big time, like we was bringing in like 1,000 views and stuff like that. I'm not even gonna front to you. We wasn't bringing in 1,000 views. You know what I'm saying? We probably was only, some episodes was getting 8 views, some episodes only got 2 views. But, man, at the end of the day, we still did it was still, you gotta start from the bottom. You're not gonna always blow up, it is what it is though. But I got a little bit of mixed emotions though, about the podcast ending. I mean, it happened, but I got a little bit of mixed emotions about it. Now, I'm gonna be 100% G with y'all. I'm gonna be 100% real with y'all. But I started Ghetto Wealthy because of the simple fact that I know that, number one, the type of person I am, I don't get complacent in life. You know what I mean? So when I see that, when I see that I can also shine as well, you know what I mean? I'm also gonna do it. So to take on the role and to manage two podcasts at the same time, I'm talking about literally like while my podcast is on the air, I'm literally filming the Basement Friday podcast. That's how much work I was doing when it came to both of these podcasts. Like literally while my podcast was literally was premiering on YouTube, I was in the middle of filming the Basement Friday podcast at the same time. You know what I mean? So, and literally like, if you look at like recording Basement Friday, recording it, and it was just marketing, man. Sometimes you marketing two podcasts yourself. Now everybody know I'm not hyping myself up, I'm not gassing myself up, but me personally, like Funkadelic Jones as a character, I'm bigger than the Basement Friday. You know what I mean? I'm not one of the people that people only know me for the podcast. No. You know what I mean? I be using Funkadelic Jones for everything. Funkadelic Jones is a brand. You know what I'm saying? So Funkadelic Jones with Basement Friday, whether it was Ghetto Wealthy, whether it was with Twitch, whether it was stuff that I was doing on TikTok, I've been using Funkadelic Jones for a while now. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I was just one of those people that was, you only know me for the podcast and that's it. And then I just disappeared. Nah, I'm already a brand by itself. So one thing about that, with being a brand, I'm able to expand and do different things. So even though the Basement Friday I was on the Basement Friday, I can also expand and do my own thing. Cause see, what people gotta realize about the Basement Friday and I say this all the time, I was on the Basement Friday, but the Basement Friday was his show. So whatever he wanted to do, that was his call to make. And that was his decision. But you gotta realize, I'm like, okay, cool. If that's what he wanna do, great, cool. I got no beef with it. But also said this, the success and the failures, the success or the failure of that show fell on his shoulders. Because it's his show. You understand? I was more of a co-host. You know what I mean? I was more of a co-host. Even though I wouldn't even say a co-host, I was more of a regular on the show. Put it like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to say co-host, but it's just like, you might, because, so, how can I put this? So we all know like the Joe Budden podcast, right? We all know Joe Budden is the star, but he got like, I guess you could say it's I guess you call them co-hosts, they just regulars on the show. That's what my job was, to be the regular. You know what I mean? So whatever he wanted to do for that show, that's what he wanted to do. Now mind you, I did a lot for the show that personally I don't think he wanted to do for the show either. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he wanted to do. Like, we only had 3 guests on the show. Believe it or not, if I try to explain this to anybody, but I try to bring more people on the show. Now, these weren't random people that I just brought. These weren't random people. These were literally people that me and him both know in our circle. You know what I mean? I got on the Instagram page like, yo, how about you, you interested in coming on the show? I got literally 5 yeses Actually, no, I got 4 yeses and one person said, I'll let you know, let me check my schedule. I got 4 yeses. Nothing happened. You know what I mean? Well, I wouldn't even say nothing happened, but nothing happened from that aspect of it. So you gotta realize is if I'm reaching out to these people and then I'm giving like, hey, all these people want to be a part of the show. It is what it is, though. You know what I mean? I'm just like, he don't want to do nothing with it, so it's like, all right, cool. He went on business as normal. Can't be mad at that because you gotta realize it's his show. See, what a lot of people don't realize about the Basement Friday is every episode that we did, believe it or not, I freestyled everything. See, a lot of people may thought that we sat down and had a conversation about the next topic, the topics that we was talking about. We never sat down and talked about those topics. I would literally find out those topics before we literally about to record. I have no idea what we about to discuss. I'm just like, y'all, I have no idea what we was about to discuss. I literally will find out right then and there what we was about to record. So half the stuff that you hear me say, I know a lot of people, if you go listen to 90% of the episodes, you would think that I had some type of slight clue of the topics. Half of that stuff that I was saying was freestyle. Like I literally had to think of it off the top of the dome because I had no briefing of what we was going to discuss. I had to make up that stuff on the fly. But you gotta realize, as a natural person who likes to talk and who does this on the day-to-day, that's easy for me. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can just make them on the fly, because some people will be like, I don't know what to talk about, I don't know what to say. Nah, you gave me a topic, you put a topic in front of me. Great, cool. Now I can understand and be like, all right, bet. Let me go ahead and start coming up with different things. Boom, boom, boom. Let me come up with this topic. Let me come up with this. Let me talk on this talking point. All that stuff that I was saying was freestyle. We never sat down and discussed the next episode. No. We never discussed having guests on the show. The only reason why we had guests on the show is because we were both supposed to appear on one of my homegirls' podcasts. I appeared on the podcast. So that was just a return of favor. You understand? But see, what people don't realize is you guys gotta understand. All those talking points were hit. All those talking points, all those topics that y'all heard us talk about, he came up with that. So one thing I'm gonna tell everybody right now is y'all gotta realize the reason why I say this, the success or the failure of the show falls on his shoulders, because he came up with those talking points. All of them, he came up with them. So if you guys was like, oh, this topic is whack, or oh, this topic was good, he's gonna take the blame, or he's gonna take the success for that. That falls on him. I didn't make up none of those topics. I didn't come up with any of those topics. Like I said, I would find out just like y'all what we were going to discuss. The whole day would go by, and I wouldn't have time to research anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you take it back to last week, that brings me to my next point of what I'm about to discuss. I'm not mad that the podcast is over. I'm not mad that the podcast is over. It's not about being mad that it's over. It's kind of being more like, it was kind of more like, damn. It was kind of one of them damn type of feelings. You feel what I'm saying? Because Just like you guys, just like I'm telling you guys, that's how I found out that the podcast was over. You know what I'm saying? That's how I found out that the podcast was over. I literally found out the day that we were about to record. Mind you, my podcast here was already going live while I was in the middle of recording or getting ready to record for the Basement Friday. I literally found out when we was getting ready to prep and prepare to record. That's when I found out that was our last episode. So I say, put it like this, y'all. Imagine if you and one of your friends was doing business with each other, and your friend just out the blue just come tell you, I'm selling my half of the business. Out the blue. They didn't tell you. And I want y'all to sit back and think about that. I want y'all to sit back and think just how would y'all feel even, and again, you don't gotta say business, right? You don't gotta say business. You could take relationships, right? Imagine if your girl or your dude, whatever case may be, they just woke up one morning and told you it's over. No explanation. Didn't explain to you what happened. Didn't explain to you what was going on, how they was feeling, didn't communicate nothing. They just told you it was over. Right? So that's why I say, even from a business standpoint, you wake up somebody like, yep, I'm selling my half of the business. Didn't communicate, didn't know what was going on, didn't speak on it, nothing. So I just want y'all to know, that's how the podcast ended. When we was about to record, I'm over here getting ready to the same chair that I'm sitting in. I literally got my phone right in front of me, ready to record, and he said, "This is gonna be our last episode." And it kind of made me think though. Now I'm not mad at him about that. The only question that I had is, why am I just finding out now that this is our last episode? See things like that. That's something that should have been discussed either that morning. Cause mind you, that morning I was probably, what was I doing? I was doing Instacart. Literally, I was doing Instacart. That could have been a conversation we could have had that morning. I know his birthday was over the weekend, so I didn't even count Saturday. But even if he wanted to hit me up on Saturday or Friday, whatever the case may be, that could have been a conversation previously and say, "Hey man, look, I'm thinking about ending the podcast." You know, I was gonna ask too, "Hey, for what? You know what I mean? Or what's going on?" If you had other business ventures going on, that's great. That's fine. If these business ventures were going to affect him like performing on the podcast, I got no beef with that. You do what you gotta do. I'm not mad at that. So you gotta understand is like when I created this podcast never affected the Basement Friday podcast. So that's why I said I was doing 2 podcasts at one time. So you gotta realize is that not only I had an audience with the Basement Friday, but I had my own audience as well. So I'm able to do both. But if there was other business involved, I got no beef with that. But the key thing was communication. You know what I'm saying? The key thing here was communication. So to just out the blue. Now mind you gotta realize and understand too. If you take it back to the very last episode of the Basement Friday, because I just found out as we were just about to record, everything that I had to do, I had to come up with on the fly. I had to come up with all the good times and good memories on the fly. Because I didn't know that's what I didn't know that's what we was gonna do at that particular moment. I didn't know the podcast was coming to the end. I didn't know this was the series finale. I had no clue about none of those things. So I had to come up with these things on the fly. Now, mind you, I'm not mad. I'm just speaking my piece here. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at the situation. But you gotta realize and understand that when you do things from a business, I'm gonna be real with y'all. We wasn't making a whole bunch of money with the podcast. We wasn't superstars or nothing like that. But when it comes to business, you gotta speak. You gotta let your business people, you gotta let your business partners, you gotta let your hosts, everything, you gotta let people know. Right? Y'all remember the movie Barbershop with Ice Cube and them? You remember how he just sold the barbershop and didn't tell them? So now everybody got to scramble around and be like, well, damn, like, what I got to do now for money? Now, mind you, I wasn't in that position because at the end of the day, I already started my own podcast. And I already got other business things going on. But to just come out the blue and say, this our last episode, without really an explanation of, well, what made you come up with that decision, or better yet, to tell me this is the last episode without it being a collective decision to end the podcast. I just made the executive decision of, this podcast is over. Now, mind you, I made him Batman of the show. He was superstar of the show. But even with that, it's still a respect thing that goes with it to say, like, hey, bro, this ride has been incredible, but I think this ride is gonna have to come to an end. And I would try to understand why. And then I would say respectfully, I understand, do what you gotta do, you got my blessings. But to not explain to me at all, and it just get hit with a bombshell as out the blue, it's kind of just like, hey, y'all know my motto, it is what it is. All you can do is move on. Ain't gonna be no stressing. Ain't gonna be no that's wild enough. It happened. You move on. So now, like I said to you guys, I may don't have to work on 2 podcasts anymore, but at the end of the day, you guys get to still see old Funkadelic every week. Every single week, you guys get to still hear my voice, still see my beautiful face. With that being said, ladies and gents, man, it's your man Funkadelic Jones signing out, and I'm gone, y'all. Ooh-wee. Peace out.